Undoubtedly, we live in a little bubble here in Lakeside. The weather is wonderful, life is great, you don't get bored. There is so much to do. The only way you get bored is because you want to. We live in a little paradise. Today I will describe for you some special places in Chapala to give you a sense of the scenic town. The magnificent lake is currently nearly full, though in the past there have been a number of droughts. In 1955, the lake was almost totally dry, and the concern was so great, Archbishop Garibi Rivera from Guadalajara asked all Tapatíos to pray to the Virgin of Zapopan, whose shrine is in Guadalajara, for the recovery of the lake. He promised to walk from Ixtlahuacán de los Membrillos to Chapala, a steep climb and about 10 kilometers. If this happened, the people did pray and the requested miracle occurred. Water began sprouting from springs all over the lake, and the rain started pouring and the lake recovered. The pilgrimage began with hundreds of people carrying the Virgin of Zapopan to Chapala. Every year since then, the Virgin comes dressed in her traveling attire, which differs from her regular church raiment, to visit the lake and its people. Since the Great Drought, there have been many cyclical droughts. I remember that in 1985 and 2001, the lake was again very dry in some of the extensions. That is the reason it is so important to care properly for the water resources. The city of Guadalajara is allowed to take a certain amount of water each year for its own water needs. The lake is the principal supplier of water for the city. Laws have also been passed to restrict the use and pollution of inflowing water from the Lerma River that feeds the lake. Pollution from farming and factories has been reduced, but remain a problem. The other problem is that the lirios or water lilies that fill the lake during rainy season. In the 1970s, the government brought 3 manatees to the lake so they could eat the lirio, but without warning, and when the fishermen saw them, they killed them thinking they were monsters. The next location of our tour is the Braniff House. The house was built in 1903 by Mr. Trinidad Pérez Verdia and was bought in 1906 by Alberto Braniff, son of Thomas Braniff, the first man to fly a plane in Latin America. In 1970, it was bought by Mr. José Luis Martínez Covarrubias and his wife María Peña de Martínez. They created the Cazadores organization, a chain of restaurants in Guadalajara called Cazadores, hunters, and opened the Cazadores Chapala in 1971. Nowadays, it is the only Cazadores restaurant left. All the materials of the house were bought from England, and the style of the house is Victorian. Inside the house is fully furnished Victorian style, and it also has many antiques. The descendants of the Martínez are still the owners. Porfirio Díaz was so enamored of France that he influenced that style in architecture, fashion, language, and all life in Mexico. Wealthy ladies would dress in beautiful French gowns made of fabric brought from France. The unfortunate situation was that in those days everything was French, but indigenous people were starving. But we will talk about this in another blog. Next to Braniff House is the Church of San Francisco. The Franciscan friars were charged with evangelizing Jalisco, and that is why the church was dedicated to St. Francis. The festivity of San Francisco is on the 4th of October. There is a parade, and vendors in their stalls sell wares of unimaginable foods and goodies. A typical fiesta in Mexico is always replete with fireworks and rockets, much to the chagrin of the doggies. Inside the church, we can observe the beautifully decorated altar with the image of San Francisco in the middle. The emblem of coat of arms of the Franciscans is of 2 arms, one with a habit sleeve of San Francisco and the other belonging to Jesus. The Presidential Municipal Building, or City Hall, is now where the Hotel Nido was formerly. The hotel was built in 1905. Its first name was Palmera, the palm tree. It had 96 rooms and a bar known as the Beer Garden. The famous people from Jalisco and Mexico would come to stay there during the glory days. A plaque at the entrance shows that Maria Felix, a very famous and beautiful Mexican movie star, stayed there on the first night of her honeymoon with her first husband of 5 she had, not counting lovers. A mural in the City Hall depicts the pre-Hispanic communities in a normal working day, emphasizing the mystery of their lives, their sacrifices, and all the benefits they derive from the lake. Changes came with the Spaniards, who brought a number of diseases for which the natives had no immunity. Countless natives tragically died. The mural also shows the birth of the first half-blood, mestizo, which currently includes the majority of Mexicans. The mural includes the evangelization of the natives, the Battle of Mezcala, in which they fought for independence, the Mexican Revolution, the Porfiriato, the 30 years of President Porfirio Diaz, who in reality was a dictator. Finally, the mural shows the period of the Cristeros, the war of the government against the priests and Catholic people. I will explore these stories in upcoming videos. The mural was painted by Efrem Gonzalez, a local artist. In proceeding with our tour, we will visit the beer garden that was previously mentioned as the bar of the Hotel Palmera. The beer garden was the place where people would go to have lunch, listen to music, and dance. It became very famous because of a group of musicians in the 1960s, the Comets, and the principal singer, Mickey Lore. His music was famous throughout Mexico. I remember going on Saturday afternoons to tardeadas, an afternoon gathering for teenagers, where boys and girls hung out. Everything was finished by 8 p.m. In those days, girls were very sheltered and protected and accompanied by a chaperone. We now visit the train station, considered a bulwark of the town of Chapala. It was inaugurated in 1920 and decorated in French style. It was very luxurious, and because of that, it was very expensive, meant for only a limited number of people to travel in it. President Porfirio Diaz used to come in from Mexico City to Guadalajara and to Chapala by train. Unfortunately, just as there were unseemly droughts, there are also floods. A catastrophic flood in 1926 inundated the train station, and its doors were closed. The dream of the architect, Mr. Sejetnan, lasted only 6 short years. It remained abandoned for 70 years until the descendants of the owners renovated it and then donated it to the people of Chapala. Today, it is the Gonzalo Gallo Cultural Center, which houses concerts every Friday, featuring a great variety of musical groups and art exhibitions. Handcrafts. I would like to explore the different handcrafts there are in the places we will visit. In some states and regions, there's a lot of handcrafts, and in others, there's less. Today, I would like to introduce you to Rebecca Roth, who is working here in the Lakeside area and Chapala, giving classes to ladies in the prison and in the area to be able to make these beautiful dolls. I would like her to tell you how all this started. She doesn't only teach how to make dolls, but other crafts. Rebecca, welcome to loving Mexico.
Thank you, and I do. I do love Mexico. It's my adopted country for the last 21 years. Veronica, thank you for inviting me to share this fantastic story. It all started with a need that I felt that the women in prisons here do not receive any kind of products like toilet paper or shampoo or anything. They all have to work to be able to have that, or have families that bring this into them each week. So the idea began with, there was a 15-month-old child that, I'll just segue a second. When you're pregnant in a Mexican legal entanglement, you can have your baby and keep the baby inside the prison for the first 3 years of its life. Unfortunately, they sometimes, like in this case, the baby had no toys. She would kick around a 2-liter Coke bottle, and that was her toy. So I made the first doll for her. And then after that, we decided to expand and include other women that were in the prison itself, and we brought in a sewing machine. We started this project in 2008. Since then, it was just strictly dolls. In 2017, we decided to expand it to include women at Lakeside, and I happen to have two of my very fine women who have learned to sew and who make the dolls. This is Mary Elena, and this is Araceli. And Mary Elena has just brought this doll in, and she's going to be finished soon, but the dolls all have hand-painted faces, and so she just is in for the finishing touches, such as these two examples. All of our dolls are named and numbered, and they have a registered trademark. And there's dolls that are living as far away as Australia and Italy and France and you name it, Canada, the United States, South America, and certain places. So the idea was for economic development and to develop women who, for a lot of them, they're single and they're raising children and they need something that they can do at home that allows them to make enough money to be able to feed their families. That's the outside part of it. So outside prison. Inside the prison, also they need the money so that they can sustain themselves with just basic needs. And some of the women inside the prison actually send money outside to their families to help support them. So the project is ongoing. We are expanding into a different area. Araceli has been working on this purse, which will be beautiful. It's going to be a lined, hand-beaded purse. And my goal for each of the women is to develop their own product to take to market, something that's got their own branding or their own touch to it, and eventually teach them enough English so that they can be in some of these art markets that are around the Lakeside area, and help improve their economies. We have as many as 17 people today. We're facing an inclement weather. We've got rain and cold, and so these two brave women have come to be here. But we're going to expand into making hand-painted and hand-embroidered pillows. Not just the run-of-the-mill that you might see, but something very creative and artistic. That's really what I'm trying to develop with them. And the project has been going for 11 years now, and we are just now expanding into the purses, the pillows, painted floor cloths, cloth baskets, and all, I must add, all of these things are with donated and discarded materials. So this doll is made with about 90% recycling, and people donate yarns and beads and everything else. So we're really excited about this next phase that we're going into, because we're basically breaking off from just doing dolls. And the dolls are unique and absolutely wonderful. When I taught each one of these ladies how to make the doll, I told them, once you've done this, everything else is going to be very easy. So we are very proud of the project. These are called Original Friends Dolls. We have a website, www.originalfriendsdolls.com, and we do ship internationally. I just sent 4 horses and 8 mermaids to Vieques, Puerto Rico, and there's an art gallery there that has found us and has been selling our dolls for about 5 years now.
Oh, Rebecca, this is a wonderful, wonderful accomplishment that you have done.
Thank you very much.
And much more, because she is helping these ladies who are so much in need of extra income. And it's wonderful to have people like Rebecca doing all this here in the Lakeside area. We are very proud to be able to present Rebecca, her dolls, and these ladies.
And these are the heroes right here, Araceli and Mary Elena.
Yeah. 2 of the 17 that are working on this project. It's wonderful, and I really, really congratulate you.
Thank you.
And if you need more information, we will put the link, just click the link to go into her website. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gastronomy. The gastronomy of Chapala includes mainly fish dishes, carp, birria, and caldo michi. All these are found on the menus of restaurants of the Malecón, the boardwalks of the lake. Hello, everyone. Today we are in the restaurant Cazadores here at the Braniff House in Chapala. And talking about food, we would like to show you some of the typical dishes that there are here in Chapala. And I would like to introduce you first to Virginia. Virginia works here at the Cazadores restaurant, and she will explain to us a little bit about the different dishes, mainly the caldo michi. We have caldo michi, we have the charales, little fish that are now grown in a nursery, and of course the guacamole, the margarita couldn't be missed, and the naranjada, and of course the tortillas, which is a staple that everybody eats in Mexico. So Virginia, tell us a little bit about the caldo michi. how it's prepared.
Okay, the caldo michi is a dish, original from Chapala. It's made with catfish. The name of caldo michi came from the Nahuatl michi, that means cat in Nahuatl. And well, it's really simple. It's a fish soup made with vegetables like carrots, zucchinis, tomato, and oregano. I don't know how it's the same in English, oregano, okay? English. And this is a chile güero that makes the special flavor in the soup. Yes, it's really simple to make it.
Oh, that's great. And this is very, very typical of this restaurant of Cazadores. And we want to introduce to you all the different dishes that we will be learning about during our tours within Mexico. I hope you come one day to visit Cazadores. You will love the food here.
Yeah, it's really good.
So enjoy a charal and now a margarita. Traditions of Chapala. Each town has their own tradition, and in Chapala there is a tradition of helado de canuto, canned ice cream. Gregorio Morando has been selling this ice cream since 30 years ago, and his father before him. A tuba drink is another tradition. This drink is extracted from the palm tree and they serve it with nuts and peanuts. It is very refreshing. Enrique Montes has been selling it here in Chapala for many years. The traditional candies of Chapala are all made of different fruits: guava, quince, rompope with rum, tamarind. They have a big variety of delicious candies, and the name of this young lady who sells them is precisely Candy. Another very special tradition in Chapala is the absent children of Chapala. Who are the absent children from Chapala? They are primarily Mexicans living in the United States for 30 or 40 years. Now their children have been born there, but the older generation periodically returns to visit their families and want their children to learn of their roots. It is important for the parents to show their children that they should be proud of whom they are and who their ancestors were. They want the new generations to know the history of their families and towns. They are dedicated to help each other in the United States and to help people in need in Chapala. They return every year, participate in a parade featuring trumpets and drums, and then enter the church to thank God for all their bounty. Groups of absent children are found in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Denver, Kansas, and even Los Cabos, Mexico. Music in Chapala. Everybody likes music, and Mexico is no exception. Here in Chapala, there is a musical group called the Typical Orchestra of Chapala. The director, Javier Raigosa, has organized a wonderful orchestra with some expats and Mexicans who play Mexican music with different instruments, such as violins, marimba, harp, ukulele, salterio, vihuela, auto harp. Clothing. The beautiful dress I am wearing is a traditional dress for the area. It has laces and a colorful belt all embroidered. I am also wearing in some of the videos the typical quechquemitl, which means in Nahuatl tip. This poncho is a characteristic indigenous garment. Its possible origin was in the Gulf of Mexico, but nowadays it is worn all over Mexico in modern style. This quechquemitl is embroidered with many colorful yarns. Legends of Chapala. There was a woman in Chapala called the Black Widow. The story starts with her working in a travel agency which she owned. She was a malinchista, so they say, a term to define a person who has a strong preference for people, customs, and anything coming from abroad in detriment of the national. So she would organize events with foreign products, such as showings of the car Renault and having cocktails. From 1960, she married 4 times, and shortly after each marriage, the husband inexplicably died. She would then inherit this money. While clearly suspicious, the police was unable to find evidence and implicate her, but her deeds were ultimately challenged. After the death of her 4 husbands, she bought an insurance for $500,000 on her sister, who died soon after. She purchased a second policy on another relative for a huge amount, and he also died. Apparently, the doctor, owner of a nursing home, would give her the death certificates. She was a very intelligent woman who always covered her traces. There is an anecdote that the doctor and herself would go to La Nueva Posada to drink margaritas, but she would always order it with an orange liqueur exported from Europe, and he would call the drink the Cadillac of the margaritas. Afterwards, a thorough investigation determined that she had perpetrated the schemes, but there was no proofs of the assassinations. Eventually, she had to flee because everybody would call her, everywhere she went, the Black Widow. Loving Mexico thanks you for being with us today. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment. Continue watching our videos and enjoy Loving Mexico.